It's my pleasure to introduce Art England, our speaker for today, and he's a World War II Air Corps veteran. And he'll talk about his experiences as an aerial engineer, 2750, which is a combo crew chief flight engineer. And he's saying that he's not as old as our Bob Vaucher, but he's catching up.
I'll catch him up.
In July, he catches up to Bob.
He's almost there.
Art served in the Southwest Pacific, in the Philippines area, Leyte, Manila, and he knows about the New Guinea jungles. His 5th Air Force Combat Squadron had 12 C-47s. That's DC-3 or Guinea to some of you. But ended up with only 4. Art's happened to be the oldest plane in the squadron with no superchargers. I mean, he called it a Model T. They often encountered anti-aircraft fire while carrying ammo and 100-octane gasoline and the like. So, Art has some interesting things to say about President Truman and the atom bomb, about General MacArthur, about B-29 bombing effectiveness. Nice things to say about B-29 pilots. Be better. Art represents the young Americans who stepped up and were in uniform 1 month after Pearl Harbor, ready to do their part, whatever was necessary. So, Art did say he would be so pleased to talk to an Air Force audience, and we say back to you, Art, that we're so pleased to have you, one who did so much for our country. So, Art England.
You can sit down if you want.
I just want to say, I want to thank you for having Veronica and I here. It's wonderful to be with a group that we all had the same experiences, and we all thank God that we are here today. I enlisted in the Air Force January 10th, 1942. And I'll be perfectly truthful with you. I wanted to be a mechanic because I thought I'd be safe. I went through that. 4 months at Curtis Wright, I was a P-40 expert. I never saw another P-40 in the time I was in the service. We went down to San Antone, and the first thing you know, I was trained on an inline engine. I wound up rebuilding radial engines. Nobody knew it, but radial engines were a critical shortage during the war. Two years in San Antone, and then all of a sudden, we were shipped to the Southwest Pacific. 31 days on a stinking German cattle boat. When we got to there, we landed somewhere, I think it was in Australia. And then the next thing you know, we were on our way to Hollandia, New Guinea, and we were part of the 2nd Invasion Fleet at Leyte. We were just about getting ready to leave when a Dutch ship sailed into the harbor at Hollandia. It was shot to hell. It was a mess. And we were on a Dutch ship. And therefore he got his papers out, and we were taken out of the invasion fleet. The next morning, we landed somewhere on an island. There's so many islands down there you could not imagine. We got off this island, and we lined up before the commander, and the first thing he said, "Sergeant, get rid of these officers. I want the men." Which was a truism, believe me. Then we started purchasing all the engines, and when we opened up the boxes, and I looked at the inspection sheet, They were the engines that we rebuilt. They were all right because I'm still here. 2 days later, they came and they said, "Corporal, come with us." And the first thing you know, I had an Air Force examination for flying. And the next day, they said, "Sergeant, this is your plane. Give me an order of 3 words. Keep it flying." And believe me, experiences down there were terrific. It was New Guinea, Guadalcanal, Bougainville, Leyte, Manila, everything. We were mainly a cargo supply. We had parachuters, we dropped parachute things, we carried out wounded, we did everything. It was a wonderful, now as I stand here, I can say it was a wonderful experience. But to see what our boys did over there in the jungle was fantastic. I mean, you take New Guinea, you could be 2 feet away in that jungle and never see who was there. It was unbelievable. But as it was an experience. Now, the worst experience I had at Leyte, we got up one morning, we were told we're going to Manila. And when we got to the plane, it was loaded with drums of 100 octane gasoline for the fighters at Manila. 50 caliber machine gun, incendiary on one side, 30 caliber on the other side. That plane was so loaded, we had to climb over the top of everything to get into the cockpit. We got up there, we had a fighter on each side. And we were praying that nobody would take a stray shot at us. 20 minutes outside of Manila, sorry fellas, somebody needs us more than you. That last 20 minutes was a scary flight. But we got down, and I'll say this. The men that were on the ground fighting, they had a very difficult time. A very, very difficult time. And it was wonderful that we, and I'm not just saying myself, but other planes, when we could go in and bring out the wounded. There's only one thing I can say. The nurses were angels. They were dedicated. But did anybody ever say to them they did a good job? But those that were there knew what they were worth. And all I can say is, with God's help, that's why we are all here. And the best part about it is, as I look at you, I know that we, as a group, respect that flag. Not like what we see on television. It hurts. And I just say it again, thank you for having us here. It's wonderful to be with comrades. Thank you again, and I appreciate it.
Question,
Anybody
yeah.
got any questions?
You never got malaria, did you?
No, thank God. But one night I took about 16 Adapur pills because I thought I was going to get something. No, malaria was a big thing now.
Yeah, I talked to him earlier. My stepfather was in New Guinea He came back with malaria. He was about 120 pounds, but he was in Hollandia and Bougainville and Atape and all that kind of stuff. And the stories he had about the jungle were just but luckily he didn't get malaria. It's unbelievable.
No, I'll tell you one thing, there's nothing like flying at 15,000 feet and getting caught in the downdrafts to go down 10,000 feet all of a sudden.
Wow.
How about that other guy over there? Art, your question, right over there. There you go.
Were you a pilot?
No, I was an aerial engineer, flying crew chief.
Flying on Guinea.
Yes.
Yes.
He was enlisted man.
You don't like
That
that
was
word.
no corny board, but that thing flew me in and out. I had 965 flying hours. Not all NC-47s, A-20s, B-25s, and planes like that. Also, when you were down there are so many islands, we had biplanes. And you had to put so many days in flying there, checking on the islands to make sure that everything's in order and things like that. Now, we had a Canadian biplane with immense wings. And in those planes, we had gravity feed gasoline in the wings going down. We came in for a landing and the wind was blowing. It was so strong that we couldn't go up and we couldn't go down. We just stood there about 5 feet off the ground. And then all of a sudden, the wind stopped. We went down. The wings went down, and I'll tell you, we got out of that plane so damn fast you couldn't understand. We went boom, it blew up.
Oh, gee, wow, wow,
A lot of nice experiences.
wow.
But with faith in God, He's been good to me.
Art, could you tell us what you thought of B-29 bombings, how effective they were?
He did a good job. He did a damn good job. No, I was fortunate to spend 2 months in Japan. And I saw what those boys did. They were way up there, but I was down there. But I will say one thing. You never saw such a clean place as Yokohama. You could walk the sidewalks, you could walk everything was so neat. It was unbelievable. But there were several buildings that you didn't get entirely. And all I can say is I spent 4 years in the service. It was a wonderful experience. During the Korean War, I was in the Air Force Reserve, and I was called up, told to go home, and the orders would be sent to me, 3 of us. We're still waiting for the orders. Typical Army, they put all the files back together, even the instructions that we had to report.
Art, can you tell us your opinion about Harry Truman's decision to drop the second bomb?
Uncle Harry saved millions of lives.
In what way?
In what way? We would be slaughtered as we came aboard. I mean, in there, you would see a section, and they'd have concrete pillboxes. And they would just be in there, and if there's a parachute, they could pick them all just as they pleased. They were ready to fight, and it would have cost us. Now, we would go, were now, August the 3rd, we assembled in Manila. must be about 50 combat planes there. We went into the hangar and we were told the invasion of Japan is on. You and your equipment are expendable. You're now listed. Because when you get there, you would not have enough fuel to get back.
Oh, wow.
And then as a side quip, he said, if you could land your plane in the ocean next to a ship, maybe they'd be able to pick you up.
Wow.
What do I think of Harry Truman? That's why I'm here.
Right.
All I can say, if it wasn't for him, I would not be here.
There's a report out recently, there would not be an estimated 10 million Japanese would also have been killed
Oh, it would
by
have
the
been
invasion.
Yes.
If you did, how soon after an invasion of a beach did you bring in supplies to the people on the...
As soon as they could make a landing field or repair a landing field. I mean, we went in there many a time. I don't think the fighting was more than a half a mile away from us. But we went in and we went out. Because it was a constant stream of planes coming in and out. And there was never any too much parking space around that you could linger. You got in and you got out. Well, some planes didn't get out. I know one before me took off and he didn't take his elevator locks off.
Oh, gee.
Went into the jungle and blew up, and they're screaming at us, take off, because we had to get out so the incoming supply planes were coming in.
Wow.
How many supply planes would you typically have? 10, 30, 50, cycling in and out?
Oh, we didn't have time to count. We just got in and got the hell out.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a lot of flying. You see, when we first started at the invasion of Leyte, there was a straight flight there, but Morotai was held by the Japanese yet. We couldn't do it. We had to fly to Peleliu, way over this way, and then get up early in the morning, fly into Leyte, and get back to Peleliu before it got dark. It was just flying. And it's one of the worst trips we ever had. Got up one morning, it was as pitch black and as foggy as could be. All planes were grounded but mine.
No, gee. Wow.
I had to get to Manila that day. We went up, we were flying blind. We did not have what we have today, believe me. We got so far, and the first thing you know, ACAC was coming up at us. We were blown over a Japanese field. We got up around Morotai. The clouds were so thick we didn't know whether to go down because of the mountains. We saw a squadron of A-20s come by. They found a hole in it. We went down in that hole. What did I have on my plane? God forbid. A new kitchen for MacArthur's plane.
Oh, gee. New kitchen. Oh, gee. Oh, gee. Oh, wow.
A new kitchen for MacArthur's plane. We had to take one.
So did you like MacArthur?
I'll tell you one thing. MacArthur got a lot of credit, but it was the boys on the ground that made him a hero.
Right.
To be there is to understand what was going on. And those jungles there was something. In New Guinea, we would never fly over the land. We'd rather take the longer route and go by sea. If we had to go down, at least we had another chance. In that forest there, it'll go down, the trees will just pounce back again, and you'll never find anybody.
Wow.
All I can say constantly is, I thank our Lord. And I'm praying that there's never another war that I could, things come back, flashes come back to me. It was just like one of the men where I am, his foot became infected, and I saw black, blue, yellow, flashback bringing out the wounded. So I thank you for the opportunity to talk to you, and it's a wonderful time, and God bless us, and let us keep going. Thank
I
you.
got one more question over here. Bob, you had a question?
You flew 900 and some hours.
What?
You flew 900 and some hours,
965.
all in the South Pacific.
Yeah.
That's one hell of a lot of hours in a PC-3.
Wow.
No, he flew other things too.
You see, you have to look at it like this. In Europe, it was small. There, it was spacious. You never saw so much water as the Pacific Ocean, right?
Yeah.
And you just had to fly. That's what we were there for. There was 12 planes in our unit when we started. There was only 4 left when it ended.
Wow. What plane did MacArthur have? What kind of plane did MacArthur have? Did he have a B-29 or?
No.
B-17.
B-7?
No,
MacArthur plane.
no, he,
Oh, I don't know what kind of plane he had, but he was a good. Now at Atlantia, when he had his headquarters there, this engineering battalion had to build a special road up to his new headquarters. They were so irritated that everyone canceled their war bonds, anything else for the support, because it was a waste of time and effort.
Oh, that's too bad. Wow.
As I said, if it wasn't for MacArthur's men on the ground,
Right.
he wouldn't be the hero that he's supposed to be. The heroes were those poor guys on the ground.
Yes.
One can never understand the terrain and the obstacles that they had to go through.
There was a lot of stuff about MacArthur, but he was a great tactician, no question about it. And he was a Medal of Honor winner in World War I. I mean, he had his bad points, no question about it. My stepfather hated him, but he was a great tactician. Look what in Korea and stuff like that.
John.
Now you take the island of Biak. They invaded that island, it was coral. There was a coral reef going out almost the length of the football field. When they went in at low tide.
Oh, gee.
The boats couldn't get into shore. They had to fight their way in about 100 yards to get to it. And then there was nothing but caves, coral caves. Shells didn't mean a thing. There was only one way they took it. Flamethrowers.
Wow.
It's the only way they took it, was flamethrowers. Brings back bad memories.
Yeah, yes.
And I want to again say thank you.
Thank you.